Good morning, everybody. Today we'll discuss with the uh, topic that is states of matter. States of matter. That is, let us have a chapter at a glance for preparation for our NEET classes and to solve the objective questions properly. So let's begin with this topic. States of matter. When we talk about, there are three important states of matter. One is the solid state, the liquid state, and the gaseous state. At particular temperature and pressure, water you can say exists in three equilibrium states, that is ice, water vapor, and water. Apart from this, there are two more states, that is plasma state and the single super atom state. Plasma state is the gaseous mixture of electrons and positive ions existing at extremely high temperatures. They're existing at a very high temperatures in the interiors, that is the interiors of the stars, uh, and or the internal electrical fields in discharge tubes. Single superatom state at extremely low temperatures. That is, one is existing at a very high temperature and the another is existing at a very low temperature. All atoms lose their identity and get condensed in a single entity behaving as a single super atom. So now let us move apart from that. So what we are talking about, the next one is the measurable properties of the gaseous. The measurable properties of the gaseous, when we talk about, it is mass, volume, pressure, and temperature. And when we talk about mass, it is expressed in grams or kg. Volume, it is equal to the volume of the container and it is expressed in terms of liters, milliliters, cubic centimeters, cubic meters, or cubic decimeters. Pressure, it is equal to the force per unit area and expressed in the units such as atmosphere, millimeters, centimeters, torr, bar, etc. But the ISI unit of pressure is Pascal. And when we talk about, we have even shown the interconversion of a single unit into the another unit, like 1 atmosphere is equal to 76 centimeter of Hg, or 760 of Hg is equal to 760 torr. 1 atmosphere is equal to 101.325 kilopascal, or 101.325 Pascal. It is equal to 101.325 Newton per meter square. So in the same way, 1 bar is also equal to 10 to the power of 5 Pascal. Temperature, it is measured in Celsius scale, Kelvin scale, and SI unit of temperature is Kelvin, or absolute degree, which is called as, that is T Kelvin. It is degree centigrade plus 273. Now let us talk about the gaseous laws. We know that there are various gaseous laws to be studied. So the first gaseous law which we are studying is Boyle's law. What is Boyle's law telling us? Boyle's law tells us the volume of a given mass of a gas is inversely proportional to its pressure at constant temperature. So the pressure is inversely proportional to volume. So we can say PV is equal to constant, or P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 is equal to P3 V3, which is equal to constant. Values of the constant depends upon a mass, temperature, and nature of the gas. Graphs of, we can say, that is what are isotherms here. Isotherms means the graph of volume versus pressure, or PV versus pressure at constant temperature. The graph which represented at constant temperatures are known as isotherms. So the graphical representation of Boyle's law, you can see here P versus V, or 1 by D, where you can see at different temperatures the graphs have been carried out at T1, T2, and T3. From the graph, it represents that T1 is less than T2 is less than T3. So this is how Boyle's law is represented graphically. And then the second law is the Charles law. Charles law said the volume of a given mass of a gas increases or decreases by 1 by 273.5 of its volume at 0 degree for each degree rise or fall of temperature at constant pressure. So when we say this, that is, we say the volume of the gas we are talking about, it is, we are having here volume of a given mass of a gas at 0 degree, that is V naught, and volume of the gas at a given temperature, that is Vt. So according to the above law, we can say Vt is equal to V naught plus 1 by 273 V naught T, or V naught is equal to 273, or V naught is equal to T naught by T by T naught, or Vt by T is equal to V naught by T, that is uh, directly proportional to volume, is directly proportional to temperature. So now here we are talking about absolute zero. If in the above equation we put the value of T as minus 273.15, that is, in this equation, if we put the value of T as minus 173, 273.5, the volume of the gas will be zero. The volume of the gas will be zero. It means gas will not exist, uh, which is not possible. In fact, all the gases get liquefied before this temperature is reached. This hypothetical or imaginary temperature at which the gases occupy zero volume is called the absolute zero. So here you can see when the plot is extrapolated and we have got at a point over here, this point where the volume of the gas becomes zero, this temperature is called as absolute zero temperature, where the volume occupied by the gas becomes equal to zero, which is not possible. So isobars, when we talk about, it is that the a graph of volume versus temperature at constant pressure. The graph representing at constant pressure is known as the isobar. So the graphical representation of Charles law we can see here. The volume versus temperature, we are having a graph, and the volume versus temperature when we are having the graph at different pressures. So it is clear from that P1 is less than P2 is less than P3 is less than P4. So this represents what? The Charles law. Now we'll talk about the third law, that is Gay-Lussac's law. The pressure of a given mass of a gas increases or decreases by 1 by 273.5 of its pressure at 0 degree for each degree rise or fall in the temperature at constant volume. So here we are relating pressure versus temperature, and pressure is directly proportional to temperature at keeping volume constant. The same how we have obtained the Charles law here, we are obtaining the Gay-Lussac's law also. So here we can say pressure is directly proportional to temperature. According to Charles law, volume was directly proportional to temperature, and we even write it as P1 by T1 is equal to P2 by T2. This is how we have written for volume in the Charles law with respect to volume. So now we are talking about isoforce. Isoforce is a graph of pressure versus temperature, but keeping volume constant. So that's how we are writing a graph of P versus T at constant volume is known as isoforce. So this is the graphical representation of Gay-Lussac's law, where we are plotting a graph of pressure versus temperature at different volumes, and we can see over here that V1 is less than V2 is less than V3 is less than V4. So this is how we are representing the Gay-Lussac's law. Now let us talk about the Avogadro's law. Avogadro's law states that the volume of a gas is directly proportional to the number of molecules or moles at constant temperature and pressure. Here we are saying that V is proportional to N and keeping temperature and pressure constant. So here we are writing the things as V1 by N1 is equal to V2 by N2. So the graphical representation of Avogadro's law, that is volume versus moles. So that is V is proportional to constant into N. So this is what is Avogadro's law. Now, by combining all the gas laws, that is Boyle's law, Charles' law, Avogadro's law, we can combine all this and we can get the expression that is PV is equal to nRT, which is called as ideal gas equation. Now, what's the difference between an ideal and a non-ideal gas? Obeys gas laws under all the conditions of pressure and temperature. So, real gases obeys only at low pressure and temperature. The next point, what is say, obeys ideal gas equation, does not obey ideal gas equation. Um, Intermolecular interaction, molecules are negligible. Intermolecular interaction between the gaseous molecules are not negligible. Volume of the particle is negligible as compared to the total volume of the gas. Volume of the particles is not negligible as compared to the total volume of the gas. Now the density of the gas, by using the ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT. By substituting the value of n here as n by m, we can obtain the density of the gas equation, that is Pm by RT. So here we can obtain the density of the equation, that is, here I have written it as m is equal to dr by dt, or you can write as d is equal to Pm by RT. So here you can write it as d is equal to Pm by RT. So anything, whatever we can write over here, we can show the density. So the unit of density is usually expressed in the form of grams per liter. So now the vapor density, by using the formula and calculating the molecular weight, is equal to 2 into vapor density. Now, deviation of ideal behavior in terms of PV curve. When we see plot a PV pressure volume versus pressure curves or the graphs, the straight line which is seen is for the ideal gas, and the deviation in the for the real gases. That is, you can see here for carbon monoxide, methane, first with the increase in pressure, the PVP curve is showing a negative deviation, and then going with the positive deviation. But whereas for hydrogen and helium, they are continuously moving, showing a positive deviation with increase in the pressure. So this deviation is even said in form of compressibility factor, that is Z. If Z is greater than 1, we say it is a positive deviation. If Z is less than 1, we say it is a negative deviation. If Z is equal to 1, we say it is an ideal gas behavior. This we will going to discuss it later after discussing some other concepts. So the numerical value of R, when we talk about the numerical value of R in different units, is being expressed here. When pressure is taken in atmosphere and when volume is taken in liters, the value of R is taken as 0.0821. When pressure is taken in bars and when this is taken in liters, it is taken as 0.0831. When pressure is taken in dynes per centimeter square and unit of volume is in cm cube, then it is taken as 8.314 in 10 to the power of 7 ergs. And when pressure is taken in kilopascals and volume is taken in dm cube, then we take the value of R as 8.314 kilopascal dm cube per Kelvin per mole. If we take the pressure as Pascal or Newton per meter square and unit of volume as cm cube, then we take it as 8.314 joules per Kelvin per mole. If we take the unit of uh, if we take the unit of pressure as dynes per centimeter square and volume as centimeter cube, then we take the value of R as 1.99 calories per Kelvin per mole, or you can even take it as instead of 1.99 as 2 calories per uh, Kelvin per mole. So this is the different values of R. Now let us talk about the concept, that is normal boiling point, standard boiling point, standard temperature and pressure, normal temperature and pressure, standard ambient temperature and pressure. Normal boiling point, when we talk about at 1 atmosphere pressure, the boiling temperature is called as normal boiling point. Standard boiling point at 1 bar pressure, the boiling temperature is called as standard boiling point. So normal boiling point of water is 100 degrees. Standard boiling point of water is 99.6 degrees centigrade. Standard temperature and pressure 273.15 Kelvin. 1 bar pressure, that is 10 to the power of 5 Pascal pressure. Molar volume at STP is 22.710 1098 liter per mole. Normal temperature and pressure 273.15 Kelvin temperature, 1 atmosphere, that is 1.01325 Pascal pressure. Molar volume is 22.4, that is at NTP. Standard ambient temperature and pressure, that is 298.15 Kelvin temperature, 1 bar, that is 10 to the power of 5 Pascal pressure. Molar volume at SATP is 22.784 liter per mole. So now let us talk about Boltzmann's constant. So the Boltzmann's constant, whenever we are talking about, you can see this Boltzmann equation, that is n beta by n alpha is equal to e raised to minus delta e kb into t, where kb is the Boltzmann constant, and it has a value of 1.38 to 10 to the power of minus 23 joules per Kelvin per mole. Uh, and its value in calories is as 19.85 calories per mole. So Dalton's law of partial pressure, at constant temperature, the total pressure exerted by a mixture of non-reacting gases is the sum of partial pressures of each gas. Partial pressure P of a gas is equal to mole fraction of a gas into total pressure. Um, for uh, for a gas, if we talk about, for a gas A, if we talk about, partial pressure of A will be mole fraction of A into total pressure. If N1, N2, N3 are moles of non-reacting gases filled in a vessel of a volume V at temperature T, the total pressure is V equal to PV, which is equal to N1 plus N2 plus N3 RT. So relationship between total pressure and individual pressures. So on mixing gases at constant temperature, if a gas A at pressure P1 and volume V1 is mixed with gas B at pressure P2 and volume V2 at same temperature, then total pressure for that will be calculated by using this formula, that is P is equal to P1 V1 plus P2 V2 by V1 plus V2. So this is how we are calculating the relationship, that is the total pressure when we are mixing two gases at a same temperature. Now the next point what we have to see over here is aqueous tension. Aqueous tension, it is a pressure exerted by water vapor at a particular temperature. It depends on temperature. Then pressure of a dry gas. When a gas is collected over water, its observed pressure is equal to the sum of the pressure of dry gas and the pressure of water vapor, that is aqueous tension. Then pressure of dry gas will be equal to pressure of moist gas minus aqueous tension. Then we talk about diffusion. Diffusion, the tendency of every gaseous substances to distribute itself uniformly throughout the available space is known as diffusion. It also takes place through a porous vessel. Effusion, the movement of a gas through a small hole when it is subjected to pressure is known as effusion. Now, let us talk about the Gram's law of diffusion. Gram's law of diffusion, it relates that the rate of diffusion is of a gas is inversely proportional to the square root of its density or molar mass. So here rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to the square root of density, or you can say square root of molecular mass. So that is what is being told by thing, so that we can say in comparison with the initial and final, then you can write the rates with reference to two different gases and their two different densities and molecular mass, we can relate it in this way. R2 by R1 is equal to rho 1 by rho 2, that is density of the first one with the density of the second one. If the concentrations or the pressure of two gases are not identical, the rate of diffusions are related to each other through the expression. If the pressures and the concentrations are not identical, then you can use this equation, that is R2 by R1 uh, will be equal to P2 by P1 into M1 by M2, that is raised to the power of 1 by 2. Applications of Gram's law of diffusion, determination of densities and molecular masses of unknown gases, separating the gases having different densities, separation of isotopes. Now, kinetic theory of gases. Now we know this is an important part of explanation. Postulates of kinetic theory of gases. What actually they say? A gas consists of large number of tiny particles called molecules. Volume occupied by gas molecules is negligible as compared to the total volume of the gas. There is no continuous rapid random motion of gaseous molecules. The molecules collide with each other and against walls of the container. The molecules are perfectly elastic bodies and there is no loss of kinetic energy during collisions. There is no attractive force between the molecules of the gases. The pressure exerted by the gas is due to the bombardment of the gaseous molecules against the walls of the container. The different molecules possess different velocities and hence different energies. The average kinetic energy is proportional to absolute temperature. So this is what the postulates of kinetic energy says. The kinetic gas equation, we can say kinetic energy for 1 mole of the gas is given as kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. Kinetic energy for n molecules is given as half mnv square or 3 by 2 pv, where pv is equal to 1 by 3 mn v square. Or if we can tell, then kinetic energy of 1 mole of gas can be written as 3 by 2 RT, as PV is equal to RT. So average kinetic energy per mole of the gas with Avogadro's number, that is calculating it in this way, getting the value of kinetic energy as 3 by 2 RT by N or 3 by 2 RT, where K, that is Boltzmann constant, that is R by N. By using the value of R by N, we get the Boltzmann's constant, which we have already discussed its value. So just dividing gas constant by Avogadro's number, we get the Boltzmann constant. Now, calculation of molecular velocities of gases. Okay, calculation of velocity when temperature alone is given. So when temperature alone is given, so what can be utilized over here? PV is equal to 1 by 3 mv square, or v square is equal to 3 by pv by m, or 3 by rt by m. Or you can say here as u, that is v is equal to root of 3 rt by m. So this is how we are taking the things as the value, substituting the value of r in ergs. So we get the value of kinetic energy as in centimeter per second. Calculation of velocity at NTP. NTP means dynes per centimeter cube. So we are using the formula U is equal to 3 PV by M, and substituting the values, we get the values for the in at NTP. Calculation of velocity when pressure and densities are given. So U is equal to 3 PV by M, which is equal to 3P by D, where D is equal to mass by volume. Calculation of velocity when pressure and temperature are given but are not the same at NTP. So we can write U is equal to 3PV by M, or we can say P1 by PV, P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. Maxwell distribution of velocities. When we talk about this, the molecules present in a given sample of gas move with different velocities in all possible directions. Velocities and direction of the molecules keep on changing due to intermolecular collisions. As the molecules collide, they change their directions. So it is impossible to find out the individual velocity of each molecule. So you cannot find what is the velocity of a single molecule. So it is, however, possible to predict fraction, that is total number of molecules having the specific velocity, that is average in the form of an average. So in the graph, which is clearly depicted out here. The gases show ideal behavior at low pressure or large volume, since the volume of the molecules can be neglected, and at high temperature, since intermolecular forces decrease. So usually gases behave ideally at low pressure and high temperatures. Low pressure, or you can say larger volumes. So this is a graph which represents a most probable velocity, average velocity, and RMS velocity. Now let us look at that. So fraction of molecules having very small or very high velocities is very low. No molecules have zero velocities. Fraction of molecules possessing a particular velocity at a particular temperature is constant. The different velocities possessed by the gaseous molecules can be discussed here. Most probable velocity. It is a velocity possessed by maximum fraction of the gaseous molecules at a particular temperature. So you can see over here, this is the most probable velocity. That is the highest velocity possessed by the most of the molecules. So that is how we are talking about as most probable velocity, which is calculated as 2RT by m. Average velocity, when we talk about, this is the average of different velocities of the molecule. So we are taking an average here. Mathematically, we are writing it as root of 8RT by pi m. Then we talk about root mean square velocity, is the square root of the mean of the square of the velocities of the molecules. And mathematically, again, it is calculated. How it is calculated mathematically? That is 3RT by m. So most probable velocity, average velocity, and root mean square velocity. If I take the relationship of all these three, that is most probable velocity, average velocity, and root mean square velocity, I get a ratio of root 2 to root 8 by pi to root 3, or I can write the values as 1 is to 1.3 is to 1.23. So that is how we are writing the relationship between these three velocities. Calculation of root mean square velocity. As already discussed, the root mean square velocity can be calculated by any one of the following. That is, it can be calculated by root of 3RT by m, or root of 3PV by m, or root of 3P by g. We can even calculate the RMS velocity um, when two different gases at the same temperature are given. When two different gases at the same temperature are given, we can relate it as U1 by U2 is equal to M2 by M1. Then if we can calculate the ratio of RMS velocity of the same gases at different temperatures. This was for the same temperature, this is for the different temperature. So U1 by U2 can be equal to root of T1 by T2. So effect of temperature on the distribution of molecular velocity. Most probable velocity increases with rise in temperature, but fraction of molecules possessing such velocity decreases. Deviation from ideal behavior of gases, which I call it as a compressibility factor, that is Z. So Z is calculated with this formula. Z is equal to PV by nRT. For ideal gas, I have already told Z is equal to 1. For real gases, Z is not equal to 1. It can be greater than 1 or it can be lesser than 1. If Z is greater than 1, it shows a positive deviation. If Z is lesser than 1, then it will show negative deviation. That was I was discussed when I have plotted that graph. So that is on compressibility factor. So here once again I can see over here the variation of compressibility factor. So here we can clearly say at low pressure, when the pressure is low, we can see that the value of Z, the value of Z is equal to 1. So it is ideal gas behavior. At low pressure, PV is less than RT, so the Z value is less than 1. At high pressure, PV is greater than RT, so that value is greater than 1. So the compressibility factor can be discussed in the same way. So factors affecting the deviation, the factors affecting the deviation: nature of the gas, pressure and temperature. In general, the most easily liquefiable and highly soluble gases show larger deviation. Pressure, the deviation is more at high pressure. Carbon dioxide and nitrogen show negative deviation at low pressure and positive deviation at high pressure. Temperature, the deviation is more at low temperature. Hydrogen and helium always show positive deviation at 0 degree Celsius. So this is what we talk about Boyle's temperature, that is TB. The compression factor Z approaches 1 at low pressure, but does so with different slopes. For a perfect gas, the slope is 0, but real gases may have either positive or negative slopes, and the slope may vary with temperature. At the Boyle temperature, the slope is 0, and the gas behaves perfectly over a wide range of conditions than the other. So you can see the graph over here. So this is called as Boyle's temperature. So Boyle's temperature, when we talk about it, is the slope is 0 and the gas behaves perfectly over a wide range of the Boyle's temperature we can talk about. The causes of deviation from ideal behavior. The causes of deviation from ideal behavior, it is due to two faulty assumptions of kinetic theory of gases, particularly not valid at high pressure and low temperature. Um, Volume occupied by a gas molecules is negligible as compared to the total volume of the gas. There are no attractive forces between the gaseous molecules. These are the two kinetic postulates of kinetic theory of gases which are not obeyed by the real gases, and this is deviating only at the conditions set, that is high pressure and low temperature. These two postulates are not obeyed. So to explain the deviation, the real gas equation, that is PV is equal to nRT. The real gas equation, that is PV is equal to nRT, is being changed by applying the a correction for the intermolecular forces of attraction and correction for molecular volume. So it is being written as P plus n square A by V square into V minus NB is equal to nRT. This is a van der Waals equation for real gases. This is for n moles of the gas. Instead of for 1 mole of the gas, it can be written as P plus A by V square into V minus B is equal to RT. So that will be for 1 mole of the ideal gases. So excluded volume or co-volume, when we talk about this, the constants B in the van der Waals equation is known as excluded volume or co-volume. It is nearly 4 times the actual volume occupied by the gaseous molecules. Magnitude of attractive forces between the gaseous molecules, that is A. It is given by van der Waals constant A. Different gases have different values of A. The greater the value of A, the greater the strength of van der Waals forces. The greater the value of A, the greater is the ease with which a gas can be liquefied. So the value of A tells us what? The value of A tells us the greater ease with which the gases can be liquefied. So units of van der Waals constant. So van der Waals constant has a unit. You can say the unit for A is given as atmosphere liter square per mole square, and for B is liter per mole. So now let us move on to the next, that is discussion of van der Waals equation. At low pressure and at ordinary temperature, V is very large and V can be neglected then. So when V is neglected, you can write it as P plus A by V square, V is equal to RT, or you can write it as P is equal to RT minus A by V, or PV by RT is equal to 1 minus A by RTV. Therefore, Z is less than 1. You can see over here, to get the value of PV, you are using that equation. So that is PV is equal to RT minus A by V. So that's why Z is less than 1, and hence at low pressure the gases show negative deviation. At high pressure and ordinary temperature, at high pressure, volume V will be quite small. The quantity over here, that is A by V square, become negligible, but B cannot be ignored. So the equation now will turn to be as what? P my V minus B RT, or I can write PV. So I can write it here, PV by RT is equal to 1 plus PV by RT. So therefore Z is more than 1. At high pressure the gases show positive deviation. At some intermediate range of pressure and ordinary temperature the gases show ideal behavior. So at low pressure and high temperature, the effect of what? The effect of A by V square and B is negligible. So we have PV by RT is equal to 1, and hence therefore Z is equal to 1, hence the gases show ideal behavior. So exceptional behavior for hydrogen and helium, due to their smaller size and the attractive forces between the molecules are too small. A by V square is negligible. Then PV by RT is equal to 1 plus PV. So they hence they show always a positive deviation. This is for hydrogen and helium. Why are they showing always positive deviation? The reason for this is uh, their small their small size and the attractive forces between their molecules are very small. This is the reason why they are always showing positive deviation. Then critical phenomena and liquefaction of the gases. Increase of pressure and decrease of temperature tend to cause liquefaction of gases. The effect of temperature is however more important. Critical temperature, critical pressure, and critical volume, that is TC, PC, and DC. Critical temperature, it is defined as a characteristic temperature for a given gas below which a continuous increase in pressure will bring liquefaction of a gas, and above which no liquefaction is noticed, although pressure may be increased. So this is very clear. Critical temperature, it is defined as a characteristic temperature for a given below which continuous increasing in pressure will bring liquefaction of a gas, and above which no liquefaction is noticed, although pressure may be increased. Then the value of TC is being given as 8A by 27 RB, where A and B are van der Waals constants. That is volume correction term and pressure correction term. Critical pressure, it is defined as a minimum pressure applied on 1 mole of a gas placed at critical temperature to just liquefy the gas. So PC will be equal to A by 27 V square. Again here A and B are van der Waals constants. Critical volume VC, the volume occupied by 1 mole of a gas placed at critical conditions. So VC is equal to PV. So these are the critical phenomena here. So Andrews experiments on critical phenomena. The first to study the critical phenomena experimentally using carbon dioxide gas was Andrews in the year 1861. At different constant temperatures, he studied the effect of pressure on the volume of carbon dioxide. Plots obtained are called isotherms. Some of the isotherms thus obtained are shown in the figure below. So you can see here there are different temperature: 50-degree temperature, 31.1 degree, 30.98 degree temperature, 21.5 degree, and 31.1 degree. So this is the point when we are talking about. This is the plot. This is said to be as critical temperature, that is 30.98 degree, above which a gas cannot be liquefied. You can see the explanation over here. At the lowest temperature employed, that is 13.1 at low pressure, carbon dioxide exists as a gas, as shown at the point A. So at point A, it is existing only as a gas. So here you can see at this point A, it is only existing as a gas. That is at the temperature 13.1 degrees Celsius. The volume of the gas decreases along the curve AB as a pressure is increased. Liquefaction of the gas starts at point B. So at point B, liquefaction of the gas starts. That is what it is been telling. Then what is telling? Which results in the decrease of volume rapidly along BC, because liquid has much less volume than the gas. Liquefaction process gets completed at point C. At point C, it is telling that at point C, the liquefaction of the gases is completed. At point C, the liquefaction of the gases is completed. Uh, then what it is telling, as the liquids are almost incompressible, the increase in pressure have very little effect upon volume. Hence, a steep curve CD is obtained. A steep curve, you can see, it's a steep curve CD is obtained. As the temperature is increased, horizontal portion becomes smaller and smaller, and at 30.1 it is reduced to a point P. So you can see over here, it is becoming lesser and lesser and lesser, and it is getting reduced to a point E. The width of the isotherms is getting reduced at this point. It is getting reduced to at point E. It is not having any uh, thing there. So obtained as the temperature increases, horizontal portion becomes smaller and smaller at 30.98. This means that above 30.98 the gas cannot be liquefied at all, however high the pressure may be applied. So from the graph it is very clear that above this point the gas cannot be liquefied. Here you cannot see any liquid over here. So at this temperature only, that is 30.98 only, above which there is no liquefaction of the gases. So it is reduced point. So thus 30.98 is the critical temperature. The corresponding pressure to liquefy that gas is critical pressure PC, that is 73.8. The volume occupied, that is critical volume. Joining the ends of the horizontal different curves, we get a dome-shaped curve as shown in the figure. We observe that a point like A in the figure represents gaseous, point A like D represents liquid state, and point within the dome-shaped area represents existence of liquid and gaseous carbon dioxide in equilibrium. All gases on the isothermal compress show the same behavior. So here you can see that whatever is inside this dome, that is the liquid state, and whatever is above that, that is the outside that, they are existing in gaseous state. And above this point E, there is no liquid existence. So this is called the point, or this temperature is called as critical temperature, and this pressure over here is called as critical pressure, and this volume occupied at this is called as critical volume. So that is what is said as a part of the Andrews experiment. So let us move on to the next part of the explanation. Importance of critical temperature. The measure of strength of intermolecular forces of attraction of the gas is called its critical temperature. If the intermolecular forces are weak, it becomes difficult to liquefy the gas, and hence critical temperature of that gas would also be less. Understood? This is very important point over here. The strength. What is it telling? Intermolecular forces of attraction of a gas is called its critical temperature. If intermolecular forces are weak, If intermolecular forces are weak, then it is telling us that the critical temperature is also less. It is also telling the critical temperature is also less. Intermolecular forces are weak means critical temperature is also less. If critical temperature is high, then intermolecular forces of attractions are also high. For example, helium and hydrogen have weak intermolecular forces, and it is very difficult to liquefy as they have low critical temperatures. But carbon dioxide and ammonia can be easily liquefied as they have strong intermolecular forces of attraction and their critical temperatures are high, which are above room temperature. Van der Waals constant A is also a measure of intermolecular forces of attraction. Hence, it is found that the values of constant A increases in the same order as the critical temperature. A comparison of Van der Waals constant and critical temperature for few gases have been shown. So here it is showing the Van der Waals constant and well as the uh, things here, and you can see the series here. The ease of liquefaction of some of the gases is given. SO2 is greater than chlorine, then ammonia, then HCl, then methane, then carbon monoxide, then nitrogen, then hydrogen, then helium. Now the surface tension, when we talk about surface tension, the surface tension is defined as the force per centimeter acting perpendicular to the tangential line on the surface of the liquid, which tends to compress the surface area. The units of surface tension are force per unit length, that is dynes per centimeter or Newton per meter. Stronger the forces of intermolecular attraction, cohesive forces, greater are the surface tension. The surface tension decreases with rise in temperature, or surface tension is inversely proportional to temperature. The surface tension is inversely proportional to temperature. Measurement of surface tension of a liquid is done by drop number method. Viscosity. Viscosity may be defined as the force of friction between two layers of liquid moving past one another with different velocities. Viscosities of liquids are compared in terms of coefficients of viscosities, which is defined as the force per unit area needed to maintain a unit difference in velocities between the two consecutive parallel layers, which are 1 centimeter apart. The units of viscosity are poise, where 1 poise is equal to gram per centimeter per second. In SI unit, viscosity is given as 0.1 Newton second per meter square. The liquids having stronger forces of attraction have higher viscosities. With the rise in temperature, viscosity of a liquid decreases because the intermolecular attractive forces between the consecutive layers decreases as temperature increases. So that's all uh, for the explanation.